Hi, and welcome to Scrapbook.com. I'm Amy Sonneman, and today I'd like to share ways to color swatch the bottles that fit inside of the color case. I'm in the process right now of redoing my craft space, and as I was redoing my craft space, I loved the way the color case brought in beautiful colors and organized all of my, whether it be my re-inkers or my paints or my stickles. I loved the beautiful colors, and it just adds so much to your room. But once I started using them and taking them out of the case, I was like, okay, where does it go back? I spent all this time getting everything perfectly aligned in the colors that I wanted and so forth. And then you take 4 out and go, where did that come from? And you try and put it back and it doesn't look right. So I decided to try and color swatch them. So I thought I would share that with you today. Because 1, it's pretty, and 2, you always know where it came from, what it looks like on the top. So it gives you this beautiful, authentic look, because sometimes it looks different in the bottle than it does when you actually use it. So it's kind of multifunctional. 1, I like beautiful things in my craft space, but 2, you want to see what it is you're going to use. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and swatch your different bottles, as well as the front of each of the color cases. So you know exactly how to put it back in, where it came from, what color goes where, and so forth. While I was trying to figure out how I could swatch the tops as well as the fronts of all of my bottles on the color case, I was strolling through the office supply aisle and found these Avery labels. They're just multi-use labels. They come in 2 shapes. One is the circular, 3/4 inch in diameter. And then I found the 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch, more of a rectangle, which is this one. They're already sticky, they're sticky labels. And I thought, well, let's try it and see how they work. So I'm going to show you the mistakes I've made and a few pleasant surprises that I learned along the way to help make things easier when you decide to color swatch your color case. Next, I'm going to pull out one of each of the Avery labels, one of the round and one of the rectangular. And I'm going to go ahead and start color swatching. The nice thing about the color case is that it stores all of the ink bottles upside down. All of the ink is already engaged at the tip. Just to be safe, we're going to go ahead and take a tissue and we're going to squeeze a little bit of it out and get it started, just in case there's an air bubble. You don't want air bubbles in your thing and have to deal with those later on your color swatch. So we're going to just squeeze a little bit out. Set that aside so you don't put your finger in it. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill in one of the little stickers. And I tend to go to the outside first and then fill in back and forth. I tried multiple ways. I tried circular. I've tried kind of dotting. Back and forth tends to work the best. And eventually it kind of levels out as well. One thing you have to be careful of is this takes, since you've used so much, this takes a long time to dry. So what I did is I swatched them all and I put them on my side table overnight and I went ahead and let them dry. So make sure they're super dry before you use them. Now we're going to go ahead and do the circle. The one thing I noticed, you may or may not like a white edge around it. If you don't like the white edge, feel free to go right up to the edge of the circle. If any goes over, you can easily trim it with a pair of scissors. It's just kind of a plasticky feel when it's done and dried, so you can trim it super easily. But if that white edge is going to bother you, feel free to go just a teeny bit off the edge and then trim it up if you'd like. And when you're done, you're going to set those aside and make sure you let them dry overnight because you don't want to put them on too soon. You'll ruin your swatches. So a couple things that I learned. These have been drying overnight and I'm ready to swatch some of my other color cases. But I want to show you close up what it does because as it dries, it shrinks. So on your stickers, it's going to curl. See how those are curled a little bit? That's okay. It's bendable, it's movable, it's not a problem. You can just kind of bend them back the way you want them. What you're going to do is you're going to take it off and you're going to just push it on top of this. and kind of give it a good push. If you're afraid that they're going to come off, you can add a little bit of Liquid Adhesive multi-matte media from Ranger or the Nuvo Liquid Adhesive. That works perfectly. The ones that I had more of an issue with were the rectangular ones. And they also kind of shrink and bend. If you can see that on the side here. And they do flatten out and they do curve to fit on the front. But if you can see here, they tend to want to stick most here and the edges come up. So what I would do is just go back and add a little bit of liquid adhesive kind of on the back. Not a ton so that it oozes out the side, but just enough to give it a little bit of security. And you're going to put a little glue on it and hold it just for maybe 30 seconds till it kind of adheres. You'll know immediately because the corners will start popping up if it's not in place. And take each one and just kind of give it a good little hold while you're adding liquid adhesive. And then those are beautiful, permanent, ready to go. You'll know every time exactly what color it is, what it looks like on the top, and ready to go to put it back in when you're done using them. And it looks beautiful on your shelf. I'm going to show you now on the Nuvo Vintage Drops how to go ahead and place these on. These are the two types of glues that I like to use. They dry clear. One is the Ranger Multi-Matte Medium, and it dries matte, so if anything kind of scooches out, it'll dry a matte finish. The other is the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. It's clear drying. It has a little bit more of a sheen to it than the Multi-Matte Medium, but both work perfectly. The trick is not to use too much. So the nice thing about this is these stickers fit perfectly on the bottom of the Nuvo Vintage Drops. But because it's a slick surface, I want this forever to stay the way it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of the multi-matte medium. Not a lot, because you don't want it to scooch out the edges. Just kind of spread it around a little bit. And I'm doing it on here and not on the sticker, just so I can kind of get it edge to edge. We're going to take our sticker, which this one actually is pretty flat. Some of them curl. If they curl, just place it down, get it where you want it, and just kind of hold it for, say, 30 seconds or so. If you have anything that bleeds out the edge, you still have time to go ahead and wipe it off. Set it aside. I'm going to do the next one, which is this. This is a little curved. Can you see how that's curved on the, as it dried, it kind of shrunk a little bit. So we're going to have to use glue on that. It will press down, but the edges might come up over time. So let's go ahead and just put a little bit of glue there. This is the Nuvo Liquid Adhesive. I'm going to put it down. See how it's kind of curved? You're just going to give it, when it's curved like that, you're going to want to go ahead and put your thumb on it and flatten that out. Hold it for a little bit. If it's still popping up, just hold it for a little longer in the areas that are popping up. Let it dry. You can do all of your swatching. I made two at the same time so that we can add this to the front like this. After you're finished color swatching all of the beautiful colors of liquid pearls, of re-inkers, and so forth, simply put the top back on, and it looks beautiful in your workspace. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happiness is life handmade.